Don't worry, I'll explain everything later. This is my new series. It's called the Minecraft Forever World. However, we're ranting right now. So my friends and I were just, chatting away, as you do, because that's what friends do, I think. I'm not sure. However, one of them brought up the point that there's a new update in which Minecraft decided they were going to add a bunch of new hopper, tools, and armor and things. I gotta change this cape out. And one of the things they added is the copper golem, which, don't get me wrong, is incredibly cool. I really like the idea of the copper golem. However, Matt also had this incredibly hot take that I disagree with vehemently. He said that the Autocrafter is less useful than the copper golem. I would just like to start out by saying everybody's entitled to their opinions. His is just wrong. I want you to think about this for a minute. Here's what we know about the copper golem so far. Essentially, what it's going to do is it's going to sort items into chests for you, which, early game is very useful for some people. Having a system that would automatically sort all of your items would just save on a huge chest monsters of problems. However, why are you saying that it's better than the Autocrafter? For those of you who don't know what the Autocrafter is, I'm specifically calling out my friend Ethan. The Autocrafter is a block that Minecraft decided they were going to add. It was very controversial at the time, but I think we can all agree that it is incredibly nice to have. Essentially what it does is it just crafts things automatically. You can set up the recipe, you put items in with a hopper, and you get the item that you want out. Pretty simple. My guess here is that Vex doesn't actually understand how the Autocrafter works, and he's probably just salty about it. So, there's that. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the fact that Mojang is keeping good on their promise of eventually adding all of the mobs that didn't win the mob votes into Minecraft. But can we stop pretending like the copper golem is going to be more useful than the Autocrafter? Get real. I want you to think about this for a second, right? You're in the end game. You have all of these big farms. And in order to save storage, you add a 3x3 set of blocks that just compacts all of your iron or all of your gold and saves you 9 times the storage. How is a copper golem going to beat that? That doesn't make any sense. Do you have a big project where you need a ton of dispensers? Imagine crafting those by hand. That would be a logistical nightmare. But no, you don't have to. You can just set up an Autocrafter to do it for you. It's incredible. For those of you who don't understand why crafting dispensers is an absolute logistical nightmare, it's because of the fact that having a dispenser requires you to hold a bow. Bows are non-stackable, but dispensers are stackable, so that's just why crafting those is just completely ridiculously annoying. Just to be fair to Vex, though, I'm going to quickly explain what it is that the copper golem does. So essentially, the copper golem, you place a block of copper like this, and then you place a carved pumpkin, just like how you'd make any other golem in the game. And, oh, I didn't mean to break that axe. And it'll create a little copper golem guy who will run around, and the copper block will turn into a copper chest, which is a new item. Cool, right? It'll grab items out of this copper chest, and it'll run to any other chest that it finds, and it'll be like, oh, hey, can I place you in here? This is a fairness. Hey, can I place you in here? And if it can, it will. If there's an item in that chest that's the same, it'll place it in there, and if it's an empty chest, it'll also place it in there. Cool, right? Yes, very cool. That is a very cool thing to have. I actually am really excited for this. Think of the uses that the copper golem would have early game. You could sort out your storage systems, but also, why are your storage systems getting messy? I don't know about you, but I think a responsible Minecraft player should not be allowing their storage systems to be getting to the point of out of hand where you need an early game storage solution. What is going on there? I think I don't know where the copper golem's going to fit in, to be completely honest, because it shouldn't be an early game thing, because you should have limited resources early game where you wouldn't need a crazy storage system like that anyways. But late game, you should have a fully automatic storage system. So I guess middle game, it could be useful, but then you still run into the problem of what exactly do you do with it once you outgrow it? Right? I feel like the copper golem's going to have a limited lifespan in your Minecraft world. Let's be clear here. I am not hating on the copper golem at all. I'm just saying that the Autocrafter is still significantly more useful. I really find it hard to believe that there's ever going to be a time where you're not going to want to craft iron ingots into iron blocks from an iron farm. Let's be real here. Shut up, phone. And I think the other thing about having an Autocrafter is it just makes all of the items that you need constantly anyways. I'm always going to need more redstone materials, and if it just automatically crafts things for me, that's great. All it takes is a couple farms, and I have an automatic thing that will craft me hoppers. I go through so many hoppers constantly. Why would that not be a good thing? I placed this one block too far. Let me just break this quick. All you need is a single bamboo farm and one iron farm, and now you just have infinite hoppers. And with a couple autocrafters, you never have to craft them again. You just have the hoppers for all times. It's great. I'm going to have all the hoppers in the world. Meanwhile, your little copper golem is going to be moving 16 items at a time. Only 16. I understand these things need to have limits, but I feel like 16 is actually totally fine. It's just slow. I think that Minecraft at its core is a game about creativity, and the less time that I have to spend crafting things, the better. Especially if it's pointless stuff. Why am I wasting my time crafting pointless stuff? Just get out of here. If you give me the opportunity to go ahead and just craft all the different types of terracotta that I could ever need, and I don't have to do it manually, I can just make a farm to do it. Why in my right mind would I say no to that? That sounds like a great idea. If I actually commit to this forever world, I'm going to do that. Shut up, phone. I'm going to do that. I'm going to make these big builds that just provide me resources forever, and I don't have to worry about it. And auto crafting's so essential to all of that. You know what isn't going to be essential to that? The copper golem. For all the crap I've talked about the copper golem, though, I do think that it's really nice to see Mojang adding something they promised they would add. And I do also think that it could have some interesting uses with the allay. That's just my first thought. I don't have any, like, concrete ideas with that. But I do think that pairing that with the allay would end up being pretty cool at some point down the line. There has to be a use case where the two of them work very well together. And the allay is just so cute and adorable. And the copper golem is also very cute and adorable, I'm not gonna lie. It would just be, it's like a match made in heaven. Or it's a match made in the ether. That was that mod, right? I'm very sleep deprived at this point. I think that was the mod, ether mod, the glowstone portal. I don't know. Ah, crap! A big tree grew. I'm not chopping that thing down. Not today. That's a different day problem. I would just like to point out the other thing that Mojang added in this new fall drop that they're working on is copper armor and tools, which fine. I guess I don't care. It doesn't affect me at all. I don't really think I'm going to use them all that much. So it's whatever. They're better than stone, worse than iron. I think it's exactly what everyone expected it to be. And yeah, it's fine, I guess. It's honestly something that should have been added back in 1.17, but I digress. See, I have 2 videos that I'm editing right now. This is going to be the 3rd one, and it's going to come out before the other 2 ever get out. And I have another video that I want to make. I want to make a video on the Happy Gas because I have opinions on the Happy Gas that I have not shared. And it's just going to have to wait because I have no time to edit right now. But I'm going to edit this tonight. I'm going to probably be late for work tomorrow. And... and I still have the other videos I gotta work on. No! It's fine. I don't really care all that much. Who needs sleep anyways? But please, in the comment section down below, tell me that Vex is crazy, and that Madi is also crazy, and that the Copper Golem is not. It's cool. Don't get me wrong. It's just not more useful than the Autocrafter. I can find so many practical applications where I could put an Autocrafter in somewhere and be like, yo, this is immediately beneficial. Whereas the Copper Golem is like, this has its uses, but they're not as, what's the word I'm looking for? Readily available? That's not the word I'm looking for, but it's the phrase I'm going with. It has its use cases. It's just not crazy, woo, you know? I'm not alone on this, am I? I've been running around without a shield. That's probably a dangerous decision. Wow, I can't talk. I just saw a bunch of, like, creepers outside, so we're gonna make this up quick. Please don't actually destroy all my stuff. I don't appreciate that. Thank you. I need to spawn-proof my base. Oy vey. This is just a little PSA to Mojang, though. Please keep doing what you're doing. I like the idea of the copper golem. I really had no idea what its use case would be. But, you know, it sounds pretty cool. But it's just one little last huzzah for the crafter. I just want everybody to remember for a second that we have bundles and we have the allay. And I'm going to be completely honest with you, I already have tons of uses for bundles, and I have no uses for the allay, practically speaking. Items and blocks are just more useful than mobs in general. Villagers being the exception. It's just, you have more practical uses for blocks because you can fit them in easier. You don't have to, like, maneuver them, make them function the way you think they're supposed to. It's just, they just work. They have a function and they just do it. Villager AI is terrible. The allays, they're cute, adorable. I love them. They do not function like worth a darn in any practical use setting. It's very annoying. I'm very disappointed by it, but it is what it is. Speaking of which, though, I should probably craft up some bundles. I don't have any for this world. I think I may regret that decision, but do I have string? Thought I had string. Pretty sure I have string somewhere. We'll make some bundles later. But you'll have to wait for the next episode, which hopefully comes out after episode 1. I'm not done editing episode 1. But hopefully I edit episode 1. And then you guys can see that. And then you can understand how I got to this weird base thing. I care more about the tree farm, I'm going to be honest. I don't really know what I'm going to do with this base yet. I have no plans. I'm just kind of winging it. I need to get a second floor up. I know that much. I really got to start working on the sugarcane farm a bit more. And I have a pumpkin in my inventory. I need to start working on a pumpkin farm. I had this idea in my head that my main source of food was going to be pumpkin pie. I genuinely don't know what I was thinking. That was a terrible decision on my part. But you know what? We might just roll with it. I don't know. We'll see. There, I switched capes. Now I feel better. Like and subscribe. Please. I need to hit 1,000 subscribers so I can start getting money and make this a full-time job at some point. Please. Okay, bye.